Oh, welcome to episode 6 and to the sawmill. In today's episode, we're going to put in the rail here in front of the unload platform and work our way around the corner following the edge of the mountain. To get at the right height here, it's a good idea to try and get the tops of the tyres about even with the height of the platform, which means actually pretty thin groundworks, and that's even a little bit too fat. So we'll try it again off the slope, and we'll try that. That looks a little bit better. It's only just the thinnest slither of groundworks. I'll drag that out as far as it'll allow us to place it. And I've already pre-cleared all the trees around here so we can see where we're going. And let's remove this one little piece here, and we've got the grass showing, and we don't want the grass. We want to be able to see the ground. So we'll go into the options, into the graphics, put the foliage on low, and that's better. Now we can see where we're building. Now, pretty much the same as we did at the freight depot. I want to place down the first piece, and we can see there we maybe a little bit too high. But that'll do, but we want to try and keep the edge of the tyres neat up against the end. And we will place down single segment splines of track to get straight. And we'll place down another one here. We want it just touching. Sometimes you have to wriggle it backwards and forwards. There we go, that's the spot. And end it. And start another one and repeat the process again. Getting it just neat with the edge. Not quite. Let's try a little bit more length. It can be hard to get it to line up sometimes because it'll like snap to certain spots on the terrain. There we go. I think I like that spot right there. I'll have a look back along, and yep, they all look pretty good. So we'll put a cross track on here, which gives us something straight to build from. Build across the cross track. Turn on the alt lock, and then we'll build to the end. And no, that hasn't worked very well. Look at that, it's actually pulled away. Oh no, because it's one of the shorter, because the tyres are all different lengths. I know that is pretty straight, so we'll go with that. And we want to line it up right here on the end. Put a cross track on the end, which marks our position. Delete the rail out from in the middle. Okay, and along this point here, you do not want to put the decking rail. If you put the decking rail, if the logs happen to bounce off of each other, they'll bounce back up under the wheels of the rail car and get stuck between the wheels of the rail car and the edge of the rail decking, and then they won't roll down the ramp into the pond. So yes, this is having the normal rail here prevents anything from getting jammed, and that should be pretty close. I'm quite happy with how that's turned out. Okay, now we'll add another cross. Oh, before we add a cross track, we will put another piece of groundworks out here, single long length, and we'll put a cross track on the end, and that marks where the unload platform is. Same thing on this end, run out a big long stretch as far as it'll go into the ground. And then we're going to have to put a slight little curve here, so we'll start doing the fan. And I got asked this yesterday, how to work out where to put the fan at, and well, you take a couple of steps forward and sort of line up the edge in the distance. And you've got to have your mouse pointer on the ground in the distance, otherwise it won't let you click it in. And you take a couple of steps forward, place it again, same again, you line up the edge with the old edge. Take a couple of steps forward and do it again. And what we're trying to find here, there is a low spot that comes through in this little gap. And that's the piece we're actually looking for here. And there we go, we've found the other side of it. So we can come here in the middle. And you can see there's the low spot we're looking for. And we'll add just a little bit of extra here on the side so they've got a nice big flat platform to build on. And there we've got a spot where we can put a curve in. Now what I'm going to try to achieve here is a loop that comes from the logging camp, goes around the backside and comes back out this way and loops back that way. At the same time, putting a Y in this side, which can go either direction, so that we've got cordwood from there, we can come down and go around that way of the loop and take the cordwood to the smelter. Plus having a line coming through the middle and across a cross track here to meet back up and continue this loop around that way for taking lumber and beams to the other industries. So yes, that'll be fun to try and get it in the very limited amount of room that we have there. Now something that Groundwork is useful for is using it as a string line to find the edge. And you can see here that this is very rough terrain in here, and I've already cleared the trees so that we don't have to do it on camera. And we'll just take a sample here, and we won't build track on this. All we're using this for is to find the edge, basically using the Groundworks as a string line. And there's another point where the edge sticks out, so we'll put a marker there. And we'll go across to the next point that sticks out. You can see it's starting to sink into the terrain, and we want to put our marker there. And then I'm pretty sure, it doesn't matter where we go now, we're back onto level ground out in the middle of the plain. So we'll just work our way across, gives us an idea of where we're going. And we won't actually build the track on this because this has got Z randomization in it, and that will cause the track to go up and down. But we've used it as a guide to find the points of how far we can come towards this hill with the track before we start to have the track in the actual hill. Now we've got to be able to fit 2 switches in here. We need 1 switch to go that direction and 1 switch to go that direction. So let's spread out some groundwork here to see where we can work, because there's a hill over there and we want to try and not hit it. So we'll just put 1 in to start off with, which is basically aiming for where we want the track to be on the other end, and we'll do the same thing on this side. Because yeah, we can't build any further part to the right of there, so that gives us a point of how much room we've got to build in. Okay, now let's put a curve built out from here. We're going to have to go straight for a little bit because we want to be able to put a cross track and have a track leading in this direction. So we've already got 1 piece in here, so we'll wipe it out. Middle of the cross track and build across the cross track again. Come forward one. Is that far enough? And actually I think we might go, we'll just have an estimate here of where we want to put the track, and about here's where it's going to be level to build across, and end it there and put this cross track in. Now we'll grab a little bit more groundworks, and yes, it's level, and meet it up over there, so we've made a nice little triangle. And now we can see where we need to come in and out from. So we'll build across this cross track here. Start to build straight along this way. Now we're going to want to start to curve into this corner very shortly, and we also need to put a switch in the middle of the corner, which makes it even harder to place. So the first piece we'll place down will be a 5 to ease into the corner, and the next one we'll place is an 18. Actually, we might need to go a little bit tighter, I think. Let's go to 25. And we'll be able to get one more piece on the end of here. And oh, look at that. We have not got enough groundworks to build on. So we'll come back and we will put some groundworks in where we need the groundworks to be at the same height. Now to continue this corner, we need to delete the last segment of rail, because this is the only piece that is the correct radius. Build across it, the cord, set it back to 25. There we go, and now we can put the next piece in. And do we have enough? There we go, just enough. Okay, so that's turned us through the corner. And of course we need to come back and delete this one piece of cord so that we've got our smooth corner back. But this is now 2 splines built in here. Now on the end of here we need to put a cross track, and we want to connect it on the turnout. So we need to come measure the distance forward. Cross track on the end. We want the second one to come in from the right. So we go this way. Put the cross track on the end. Again, we use another one just to measure the distance so we know where the end will be. Another cross track on the end. Delete the switch out of the middle. And now we can put the finish one in that lines up to where we want it to go. And hopefully we have enough room between here. We can delete that one, we don't need it. We have enough room to be able to turn from here to line up to the cranes on this side. We can't actually build in on these cranes yet, because we need to know where the item will land on the ground to be able to put the track as close to centre of where it lands as possible. Okay, now again we need to build off the other direction, and we'll come over here to this link, and you've actually got to choose it in between the two sections of track to be able to get it to be the right height, and pull out a straight along there. Wipe out the track that's in the middle, and let's build across the cross track again, and build a nice straight line out here. And you can probably already see this, there is a slight dip in the terrain here where the sawmill is up on a small rise, and we'll have to account for that later. We'll have to drop the track down like we did at the spawn tracks. Now hopefully that is a big enough area there that we can get a curve in here. Now we'll come back to this point here. And we'll build off of here this way with the cross. Connect to the start, connect to the end. I think we want to go one straight before we start to turn. And this will only need to be a very shallow corner. Put it on 5 for the first segment. And yeah, looking at that, we'll need to go 14, 15 as estimation of where we need to go around it. Pull it out to 7 lengths, 7 tie lengths. And we can start to ease out of the corner now, I think. Actually, no, we'll put in one more piece. And now we'll ease out of the corner, back to 5. And another 7 tie length. And we'll put a straight one on the end, but we're going to delete it because the last segment does not comply to the curve. And then on here we will place a switch, and this one's just to get the length. And then we will place another switch. And again, it's just to get the length and make sure our switches haven't sunk into the ground. They haven't. We can remove that one and put it in the correct way. And we want to turn to the right with the switch on the right. We need a cross track on the end of here. Give me the link. Show me the link. Sometimes they can be difficult. There we go. Now we can delete the switch from in the middle of here. And we want to go to the left with the stand on the right. And it's not going to, there's the link. So there we go, that puts us a line to run around to there and a line to run around to there. Now we need to do our fanned Groundworks trick around this corner to keep it all level. Up through that switch. Will it let us go past it? Well. And I think we might need just one tiny little bit more here in the middle to cover our gaps. Now this is going to be one of those corners where you're going to need to build forwards and backwards to be able to get it to meet up. stuck in a menu. There we go. But this is where we're going to call today's episode. I'd actually like to thank some of the guys from the official Discord that gave me a little bit of help with setting up the OBS, and I've been able to record with a higher quality for a smaller file size. So yes, a big thanks to those guys. They know who they are. We'll delete that out of the middle of there. And until the next episode, bye bye for now.